All right, let's bring in former Defense Secretary William Cohen. Christmas came early for me. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much.
Thanks for with you, Chris.
So, from a national security perspective, what is your overarching take on what you've seen in the investigation and the resulting report on January 6th?
Well, I thought the report was extremely well done, well written, and very comprehensive. I was a little disappointed in terms of the report that said that our intelligence community didn't have sufficient information, or it was not coordinated in a way that allowed the intelligence community to think about how violent that rally was going to be. I think it was pretty obvious to anybody who'd been watching television for the last year or so that whether the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the Three Percenters, they're not a calm, quiet group. They're potentially violent, as we saw in Michigan. So I don't know what the breakdown was, but for the FBI to be sending up a tweet or an email to the Capitol Hill saying, gee, it's getting out of hand, I found that disappointing. And I think the next investigation, probably in the Senate, needs to go into that in much more detail.
It's okay when the phone falls, as long as it's not you falling, Mr. Secretary. It's okay. It's you we need. Everything else is extra. So that's on the intel side. I hear you on that. Then you have the National Guard side. What is your best reckoning of why there wasn't more of an urgency and immediacy to get the Capitol cops there? They say that it was a lack of desire or initiative to break the chain of command. Ultimately, it had to happen from the Congress side. Is there a lesson there, and can we do better?
Yeah, there is a real lesson. First of all, as far as the National Guard is concerned for the city of Washington, D.C., that can only be ordered into action by the president, or as his delegate, the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of the Army. The mayor of D.C. doesn't have any authority. So that's one thing that really needs to be corrected. The second thing is that the president called upon 11 governors to have them send their National Guard troops to help out. With or without their consent, I think most of them consented. But it seems to me, under these circumstances, the president was circumventing the posse comitatus, saying don't send the military to do a civilian operation as such or take civilian control. So that needs to be addressed as well. To get back to your point about national security, this was devastating to us because we almost lost democracy. It was devastating to all of our allies who saw this as a great weakness. If we couldn't see a domestic terrorist attack coming, what kind of faith could they have in our ability to help them looking at their own domestic terrorism? So I think we've got a lot to do in terms of changing how we look at the FBI saying that domestic terrorism is a bigger threat than international terrorism. Well, what are we doing about it? Where is the FBI? Where is Homeland Security? Where are the intelligence community focusing on these groups that promote violence against our capital and against individuals?
Well, the problem on that point is you need consensus. That takes me to the next question. Do you believe the facts support the idea that the president was okay with what he saw on the monitors that day, and that people around him and people in his party may have either, by inaction or action, helped make it a possibility and a reality?
They've made it a possibility for all those who were serving with him for 4 years, because almost all of them, except the ones who left, knew exactly who he was and what he was capable of. The thing that was most important to me in that report, 187. That number will never be erased from my mind. We have the commander-in-chief, and think about this, the commander-in-chief is watching the Capitol under attack for 187 minutes, whether he's having a Big Mac or a donut or coffee or whatever, for 187 minutes. That is an absolute dereliction of duty. And frankly, if he were in the military, he would be prosecuted and put in the brig for a long time. In fact, if it were during wartime, that would be a death penalty. So to have the commander-in-chief watch the Capitol under attack and do nothing and say, well, perhaps Pence deserved it, or these people are doing the right thing. That, to me, goes right directly to the prosecutor and say, here's an example of what he did in his intent in calling, inspiring, and directing him to go to Capitol Hill, and then watching all the damage unfold. He defied the Capitol. He defied the United States image in the world, and I think that should go directly to the prosecutor, and I don't think the prosecutor should walk away from this one. Nixon did far less, and Nixon certainly paid a penalty for it. I think President Trump has to as well.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.